All right, here we go. So, Heroes Forge has just recently introduced a new thing called styles, and with that came some additional changes, some updates to the game itself. And I figured we'd do a quick video today, take a look at some of the changes, and give you my thoughts on where the game is heading. So, let's talk about styles first. So, styles are a new thing, and they're not on all the characters yet. And we'll kind of click through here so you can see them. But here's an example of one for this is the Forest Huntress. And so as you can see, it's another look. When you click on it, you can actually see it on the model. So it definitely looks cool. And you can see it's about 1,200 gems, or I forget what the crystals, I guess they call them. And you get an additional 3% of stats. So this is fairly common in these types of games to have it where you get a different style and then you kind of get some additional benefit from it. So 3% all stats, pretty decent, not too bad. Let's kind of just take a look here and see what else we can find. Here we go. So we've got the pumpkin head, which this one looks like it's just a like a cosmetic. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I like the idea of these. I like having something where you can have, like, when you're fighting in arenas or you're doing something with other players in the game, they can kind of see like a little bit of difference there. This guy you can see has got vampiric on him, so he's going to steal health. So he's pretty gnarly looking, pretty nice, not bad. So this is a lich skin. Let's see what we got here. We got the Arcanist. So this is just basically a recolor. Not all of them are recolor. Some of them actually have additional changes to the model. So this is 5% defense. So obviously for a healer, that's good. So these, I mean, these are definitely upgrades from the base character, right? So that's a change to the game. Here's the Nightmare armor. This guy looks pretty cool. I like the pink. So minus 10% defense, but 10% attack. So this is kind of different, right? You're losing something but gaining something. I actually kind of like this a little bit better in terms of, like, if you're going to give us, skins and things like that and have benefits, it's nice to see, hey, well, you're going to lose a little something there. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, the Succubus, the Gunslinger. Just as a note too, the Gunslinger did have some nerfs applied to it. I've not heard a bunch about it. I know that in PvP, if you had her like leveled up like 5 or 6 plus 5, 6, something like that, it would just rip apart your team. You would just get one shot before you did anything. So that nerf looks like it was definitely well founded. And we've got a skin here for the Interceptor, converts to darkness. So this is kind of a cool concept, right? Having a character that is aligned one way, but now it's aligned another. That's kind of cool. And I think with this character, it's probably not as big a deal. We'll take a look at the next couple characters here, and you'll see where this may be something bigger, and I'll have to be careful with moving forward. Paragon's still fairly new, so no skin there. We got a Doomcaller, and we'll talk about this in particular. I don't like this at all. This is probably, of all the things I've seen added to the game recently, I'm not happy with this. In fact, it's made me play the game less. It's a minor quibble, right? You're only getting 5% defense if you're willing to pay hard currency for it. I don't like it, right? And one of the things I read when I started playing this game was, hey, we're very free to play friendly. There's nothing you can't do in the game. You can either invest your time, or you can invest your money, or you can do a both, right? You could pick. And so to see them going down the route of hard currency, and again, it's a small amount of benefit for this character, but like when you look at this character, converting this to light, like that to me seems like it's going to open up a lot of doors, right? Having this guy lock down a team on the dark side, and having him on your light team, that could open up a whole myriad of different possibilities. It could open up whole different types of teams. And now, like, if there's a really strong team as this game begins to mature and as it begins to kind of flesh itself out, and this is a key character, like, I'm on the hook for 20 bucks if I want to do it. And again, 20 bucks isn't in the world if you're willing to spend money on a game. But for me, who likes to kind of, I prefer to sort of buy the monthly passes and the crystal refreshes, things like that. I don't really want to spend money on a specific character. It's just not how I like to play. Now, if this had the ability to be purchased for 20 bucks or crystals, right? So it's up to you. You can buy the crystals and convert them currency, buy them that way, or you can grind in the game, right? And you can save up crystals. And that's what they did here when the Interceptor was originally released. This was like $49, and now you can see it's 2,200. Now I've got probably a good month and a half of grinding to get this character if I really want it. I think that's a fair trade, right? Again, it comes down to how the company wants to make money and how it wants to monetize their product. I just think this is a bad way to go. I think as a new player, if I come in and I look at stuff like this, I go, oh, so the only way for me to really maximize my roster now in this game is to come off my wallet and give cash, hard currency. So I don't like this direction. It's really tapered some of my excitement for the game. I really hope they'll reconsider this. Again, I wouldn't even mind these being exclusive for some period of time. Maybe for a month if you want it and you pay $20 for it. Galaxy of Heroes in their game I play quite a bit. They do that all the time. And so that to me would be a better thing. Look, if you want to cash in and you want to monetize a character, put a window on it, right? Say every after 2 months or 3 months after a character has been released, that has this kind of this mechanism tied to it, then we'll release it as a crystal purchase, or they'll be available through drops or whatever the other mix is. But I don't like this. I think this is a bad direction for the game to take, and it worries me to see this finally kind of coming. So I'll get off my soapbox, but that was disappointing to see in terms of where the game was going. So let's click through the rest of these, see if there's anybody else. I don't recall any other ones, especially for like the commons. But anyways, that's the new skin system. I mean, I'm excited to see what they'll bring to it. I think there's some cool stuff that could be done. I'm excited to see different looks and feels for the characters. I think that was an appropriate kind of next step for them. And, I think these are easy from a development perspective to kind of implement. I mean, these are just recolors. Like I said, the shaman actually had kind of a different back thing. So you can see he's got kind of a horns and stuff. Whereas this guy's got like a different kind of set of horns, more of a, I guess, a World of Warcraft looking shaman-y kind of thing there. So kind of cool, but again, easy kind of to implement, and I'm excited to see kind of where these go and what other things they'll add to the other characters. So that was added in the last go around. Another thing they've changed up is the actual hero mechanism for kind of managing your heroes. So this screen's all new. I think this is cleaner and makes more sense. It's easier for a new player to come in and kind of see what these things do. It's interesting now that you can click on these and actually see a breakdown of where this comes from, right? So, basically this is where I get my attack power from. This is equipment. This is haul. This is traits, right? So this is good, especially with the addition of guilds to the game. It was harder to figure out like, okay, where am I getting all the benefits from? Where should I kind of pump up my characters? But I thought this was kind of a nice addition. The one thing I didn't like as much about this, and it's kind of it's more of just a kind of a workflow thing, but sometimes you'll have like 20 scrolls that you want to level up a character with. This is kind of tedious now. Like you kind of have to go back and forth between these two screens. You can only do 5 at a time. This is kind of a pain. I preferred it the other way where you can kind of just go into a screen and click on what you wanted to train with. So before this would be a list of your inventory and you click the things that applied and then you hit OK and it would go. It's a minor thing. It doesn't really kind of cause a problem at the end of the day. It's just an inconvenience. But I think the promotion, the upgrade, all that being on the screen, having kind of a bigger view of this is all good for the game. I think this is a much better way of doing it. They also kind of redid the equipment screen. They added this, which I've not even clicked. Looks like it auto equips for you, so that's interesting. It tries to pick things that are a good fit. You can still do that and take everything back off. I still hope that they'll implement kind of the swapping mechanism at some point. Like right now, I would really love, like if I was leveling up a new character, to be able to kind of click on this, see all of the different gear in this category, even if and maybe have a checkbox on characters, not on characters, and then let me kind of swap things out that way. Because right now gear, and there's a separate video, I'll link it up above, I just did recently on some of my wish lists for the game. This is one of the things I think was really lacking. I think they're iterating, you can tell. So I'm excited. I think they're heading in the right direction. Hopefully the next step for this will be to kind of wrap that up and make that easier for you to manage. And the ability screen, this is all much better. This is a much better layout in general for the game. And so there it is. They also added this pond of wishes, so I'll spend 10 to show you, but basically it'll flip over 5 different random cards and then you get a reward. So I spent 10 to get 5. Could have been worse. But those come up free like once or twice a day, which is pretty cool. And that's kind of a neat little thing. It's just a freebie you can do there. They did rearrange a few things. The guild was down in this bar before. It's now up in this upper left-hand corner. I kept clicking down here for a while, unfortunately, to kind of keep trying to find it. I noticed in the black market, these core stones show up more often. It seems like these are more available. I actually made the mistake of buying one of these on accident. It'd be nice to have a confirmation dialogue on these, but again, not the end of the world. but those are all things that kind of have been, again, it's good to see the iteration on the game. It's good to see they're kind of making progress. They announced today that they're going to be taking a look at heroes and how they interact. As one example they gave was like initiative, which is kind of the equivalent of speed in other games. Before that was before the way that worked, and I didn't even understand this, was that it would determine who went first in a match, but now it's going to be based on how often they go in a match. So for instance, if you have a character, I think the example they gave was 1 speed and then the other guy was at 6 speed, the guy with 6 speed is going to make an attack 6 times as often as the guy with 1 speed. So hopefully we won't have gaps that quite big within the game, but that gives you a better idea of how initiative, as an example, they're looking to kind of rebase stats. They also had wider ranges of gaps between like the two different types of things in terms of determining damage and things like that. So they're going to shrink that window. It was like 0.75 to 1.25. The example they gave was like, hey, we're going to gravitate these things back toward 1 so we can do more things with, I think the goal is like in PvP and various interactions in the game, they want to make it more predictable, make it easier for you to figure out like, what are my characters doing? And I've really felt that in PvP. There's times where I feel like the other team just slaughters my team. And my characters hit like a wet noodle. Then there's other matches where it's sometimes the same squad versus the same squad, where it's the exact opposite, where my team just clobbers them, and it seems like there's no rhyme or reason. And I know it comes back down to RNG, but I think these changes and making characters more aligned and more streamlined and easier to understand in terms of how they're dealing damage within various game modes is going to be good for the game. Just as a note, I think it would be very neat, even in the raids, if they're rethinking this, to consider allowing buffs and debuffs on bosses. Right now they pretty much get resisted. It really removes a lot of characters from that part of the game, and I think it would be interesting to theory craft more of that, right? To be able to take a shaman into a raid and have those debuffs help. I hope that one day even the raids get longer, right, where they're either multi-stage or it's a longer battle where they kind of just chew away your health instead of one big swipe. Again, game's kind of new. They're still building these things out. These are all just ideas, as I'm playing the game I have. So so there it is. I think the skin system is kind of cool. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I really hope they reconsider the cost, the hard cash currency. I did mention it in the Discord channel and said, hey, this isn't really something I would be kind of, I don't like it is what I said, but they said they would, hey, there's gonna be plenty of options, don't worry about it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully they'll reconsider. Hopefully it's not the end of free to play for the game. If this continues to kind of spiral and be added to the game, I think it would be a real turn off for a lot of people, especially new people coming into the game. So anyways, that's the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Take a look at the new skins, tell me what you think. If you have ideas that you'd like to see, maybe I'm off with the hard currency. Hey, maybe most people are like, hey, I don't mind spending 20 bucks on a cool character if it gives me an advantage. That may be some people's take on it. But I look forward to hearing you guys' comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be doing some more videos as they roll out these changes around the new characters and things coming to the game, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.